Hello, it is Sunday and it is time for my mental health vlog. And we are 1 week closer to Halloween. Yay! What is today? Today's the 15th. Okay, so we're like halfway to Halloween. This month is going by so quickly. This year is going by so quickly. It is insane. I cannot believe it's already October 15th. That's just crazy for me. However, in celebration of getting closer to Halloween, I took some time yesterday, and last year I had some really crappy, like little bloody handprint window clings that I put on the car, which were cool, but you could barely see them. So this year I got a couple of sheets of darker or more vibrant decals, and I totally did the front of the car. It looks like we hit somebody in a crosswalk, and there's like blood splatters all the way down the car, and that's, and then last year and this year I got two little skeletons on top of the car. One is a bird or a raven, and the other one was a small dragon. And then we were at Michael's today getting some stuff for a project I'm working on, and they had another big dragon, and they had this skeleton of a fucking goose. I mean, because those things are scary enough in real life without being without being a skeleton. So I have a skeleton goose. So I put those two on top of the car. So the car is totally decked out for Halloween. Speaking of Halloween and scary things, I did something last night that for me took a lot of courage. So when I was 10 or 11, we lived in a 2-story house, and and my sister and I lived upstairs, and if you came down the stairs and sat at the bottom of the stairs, you could see whatever my parents were watching on TV. Usually unnoticed if you were really quiet. I did that a lot, probably a lot more than they know. And I'm not sure if it was my mom or Larry, but the movie The Lost Boys was on. And I saw scenes towards the end of it that honestly traumatized me and gave me horrible repeating nightmares, which continued for years. And as I got older, I just knew that that's not a movie I ever wanted to rewatch. I never wanted to see it again. And people have brought up the movie or asked to watch the movie or whatever, and I've always been like, I cannot watch that movie. It was traumatizing. So last night, my son had gone to bed, and my fiance has an online game that he plays a couple of times a month. So he was doing that with some of his friends, and I had just got finished watching Beetlejuice because it's Halloween time. And one of the movies popped up and said, other suggestions for you. And it was The Lost Boys. And I was like, I got that heart racing anxiety. I'm like, no. And I'm like, you know what? I am damn near 45 years old. I need to see, as an adult, if the trauma that I'm holding on to for this movie is valid or not, or if it's something that I can squash. Now, I will tell you, before I hit play, it took me a minute to hit play. I was terrified of starting this movie. And when I hit play, and there's like one song that is repeated all throughout the movie. As soon as that song started playing, my heart rate went up. I'm like, okay. And the more I watched it, the more I'm like, why in the hell did this scare me? So as a 10 or 11-year-old who snuck out of bed to watch something on TV, I could absolutely see why it would have scared me. And I absolutely saw scenes that I recognized from my reoccurring nightmares, which were not nearly as bad as they were in my nightmares, because the brain does fun, creative things. So overall, I'm very proud of myself for facing that fear. I'm very embarrassed for having that fear. Now that I've seen it, I'm like, oh, this is just a shitty 80s movie. And I'm proud of myself, because that was something that scared me as an adult because of childhood trauma. But I forced myself to watch it. And I did. And I won't lie. I mean, there were moments where my heart rate accelerated. I could feel, I could feel the anxiety coming back. But when it was all said and done, my first thought was, wow, Diane Weiss looked amazing back then. And of course, Richie Rich's dad is going to be the bad guy. And, holy crap, these actors were so young. And like, we're all old now. But it was, I was really proud of myself to get past that. So if there's anything in your childhood that you have avoided as an adult because of how you reacted to it as a child, it might be worth giving it a second look to help yourself process, okay, those things that I was scared of, I have no reason to be scared of anymore, and let it go. So I feel a lot better after watching that movie, honestly. I probably won't watch it ever again just because it really wasn't that good, but I definitely squashed some of the anxiety and fear that I've been harboring for 35 years now, because of some reoccurring nightmares that were triggered by a movie. So I was proud of myself. So they say do something every day that scares you, and honestly, it scared me to hit play, so I did that yesterday. Yesterday was also the solar eclipse, which was so cool. So whenever I've seen lots of lunar eclipses and a lot of partial lunar eclipses and whatnot, and I don't think I've ever seen a solar eclipse because when they've occurred historically, I have not been in the right part of the country to view them. If I have seen a solar eclipse, I don't remember it, and it probably was like, oh, look, this little itty bitty corner of the sun's gonna get blocked, and it was just like, eh. So I was very excited for this one. We went and bought the special classes, and I made my son come out and watch it. He was like, okay, and I'm like, dude, no, you need to come out. So I kept calling him out, and we're almost close to as full as we're gonna get, which was, I think we probably had about 80% coverage, so not a full eclipse from Houston, but it was still more than I've ever seen or ever remember seeing, and I really wanted to make sure that my son saw it and understood that this is not something that happens every day. I'm almost 45 years old and I've never seen one. And my fiance is in his late 30s, and he saw one when he was probably younger than my son, and so he knew that there would be another one in 30 years. Well, this was what it was. So it was very cool. And I sat out there and I watched almost the entire beginning, like the first half of it, where it got full, as blocked as it was going to get. And then it started to move on. And I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I've seen enough to experience it and really enjoy it. So that was really cool. And those are things that don't happen really very often at all. So experiences like that, I want to make sure that I can force my son to at least experience it, even if he's just kind of like, big deal, whatever. But he did say it was pretty cool. And it was very weird sitting outside, because when you've got the little glasses on, you cannot see anything except for the little sliver of sun, because it blacks out everything else. But when you take the glasses off and you just look around, and the sun is like 90% covered or 80% covered or whatever, and the sunlight just looks so different. Everything is lit differently. And it's not like it is at sunset or sunrise where there's just less light. It's just lit differently. And it's like someone just like a dimmer switch. And it's so hard to explain, but I mean, if you were outside, you saw. Just a really cool experience. I'm really glad that we took the time to see it. So I know it's kind of nerdy, but it was really cool. I was just going to talk about something else. I don't remember what it was. So we had, my son all week long, which was great. My poor fiance, he has the car on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so he has to deal with pickup on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Driveline on pickup is the bane of my existence, because the parents that just believe that they are so much better than everyone else and immune to the guidelines and rules of, everyone waits their turn, you don't cut in line, blah, 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 blah. It's very rage-inducing. It makes me not want to be a good person when I'm in Driveline. So last week, or a couple weeks ago, when I was doing my 4-year reflection, I was talking about how you find yourself, you love yourself, you know yourself, and then you find someone that complements that, which resonated with some people and reached out. So thank you for that. And I was listening to my playlist on Spotify. I have maybe 1,600 songs favorited on Spotify, and I would rather just listen to those songs on repeat than hear new music. That's just my age and ADHD. I find music I know comforting. So I have a lot of Disney on there because I'm relatively eclectic, but I've got some rock and some country and lots of Broadway and Disney and oldies and pop and the gambit on there. Not a lot of rap and R&B. There's some, just not a whole lot. Because I can like a song regardless of the genre. I've got international music on there too as well from all over the world. But I was listening to a song on the way to drop off my son this evening with his dad, and it's one that I've sung along to a million times, and it's from the Princess and the Frog. And when she said the line, "Once you find out who you are, you find out what you need," and I was like, that's really fucking astute. It landed differently today because I've been thinking more and more about it, about how the needs that I have are different and how I'm doing different things to get those needs met. And I'm doing healthier things to get healthier needs met. And it's all because I've done the work to find out who I am. So I just thought that was really astute. And I'm glad that that is a message that Disney puts out there for the kids. And I'm sad that it took me so long to really hear it. Because that movie is from, it's like 10 years old now? I don't know. They're starting to run together. Everything's starting to run together. Somebody made a comment about the Lost Boys movie. It's like, yeah, things from the 80s, when you watch them today, they don't ever look as good on the new technology. And like, well, much like our memory of that time, things are always a little fuzzy. So, yeah, memory's always a little fuzzy. Even on a good day, my memory is shit. I always like to tell people, like, I don't remember what color underwear I put on this morning. I have found out saying that at work can be a problem. Because someone's like, awkward. And I'm like, okay, I'll start saying socks at work instead of underwear. I don't wear socks that often. Well, I do, and they're always colorful. But it's not around the house. Anyway, I digress. That was a tangent. I did my first live reel for my Burley Bottom design business this week. That was fun. I was introducing a new product and talking about that. I thought that went really, really well. And I think I'm going to do that more because I need to focus. I focus a lot on designing, which is the part of it I love so much, but I need to focus more on marketing because I have awesome stuff. I have a very cool line of product, but I'm not getting enough visibility. And I need to work on that. I was asked to do another live vendor event, and I explained again that I'm an online-only business. I don't have inventory. I can't really do a vended event. But the fact that I've been invited to do 3 different vended events this year, or 2 events, but I've been invited by 3 different people to do events this year. I think for 2024, I'm going to try and look at doing at least 1 or 2 vended events where I do acquire some inventory of my more popular designs, because I feel like that's a good way to get the brand out there a little bit more. Because the online market for adult novelty wear is a saturated market, so much so that my fiance kind of decided not to invest as much time into his. So I acquired his designs, some of his designs, into my shop. So when I marketed it as we're getting married, why can't our shops? So it'll be nice to introduce a different type of design into the brand. So, but anyway. Work has been insane. I had 2 projects that I was working on, and this pissed my boss and I off both. I have 2 projects that I was working on, and 2 different times this week, when we went back to the business to ask them questions, they were like, "Oh, we're going to put these on hold for now." Or we decided a little while ago we were going to put these on hold. Okay, if you decided a little while ago you were put them on hold, you needed to communicate that with us because we've been wasting our time on it. So I was really irritated with that. But my boss will handle that because she knows that I wasted several hours working on these projects that were just being put on hold, and I could have been doing other stuff. Or I could have taken a nap. I have really come to enjoy naps when it's slow at work. Or I take a nap at my lunch break. And naps are self-care. So my therapist is like, what have you been doing for self-care with all the stuff that you have going on? And I'm like, naps. She laughed. I said, hey, I'm doing my laundry. I'm taking a shower every day. I'm making sure I take my medication every day. Some days that is just the bare minimum self-care, and some days that's what I have the energy for. And that's okay. We have started going back to the gym on a regular basis, and I can tell you that there are very few parts of my body that don't hurt right now. But no pain, no gain. I think that's enough rambling for this week. Check on your friends, make sure they're doing okay. I found out a friend of mine is going on the same cruise that my fiance and I are doing over New Year's Eve week. And I'm excited about that because I've been on a cruise with them before, and it's always fun hanging out with them. Check on your family, make sure they're doing okay. I think mine is doing okay. I haven't heard from one of them as much as I would like, and I think I need to try and reach out to them a little more. And check on yourself. What do you need? What can you do? Are you doing the bare minimum of self-care? Hygiene, laundry, clean house, getting rest, taking your medications, doing your appointments if you've got appointments for a doctor or whatnot, going to there, brushing and flossing, basic things, washing your sheets. 2 weeks is too long. If you haven't washed your sheets in 2 weeks, it's time. Let this be your sign. Wash your damn sheets. And just bare minimum, take care of yourself, feed yourself. So make sure you're doing at least the bare minimum of self-care. Always strive for more, but at least the bare minimum of self-care. That's it. All right. I love you guys. And I will check in with you next week. We are one more week closer to Halloween. Woo, yay. All right. Bye.